Alright, to start off today, allow me to go a little Scott the Woz on you guys and focus on a really niche element of video games. That element being the intro logo screen showcasing the studio responsible for a game's creation. These things are still around today, but it seemed like when I was growing up, they had more attention to detail and they were far more unique. Nowadays, the game studio's name just kind of pops up on screen and just disappears after a few seconds. Most of these old game studios and their cool intros are gone, and the studio intro has become less ubiquitous within games over the years. However, there is one video game studio intro that has stood the test of time. You know,
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Every gamer alive today has experienced the EA Sports intro at some point in their life, and the funny thing about this thing is it's not really the most flashy or compelling intro, it's just the longevity with this thing. I mean, it's been front-running pretty much every EA Sports title since 1993. There's no way you can escape it. And of course, with this thing being so well known and being heard by millions upon millions of people, you kind of eventually have to stop and ask yourself, who the hell is the EA Sports guy? Who is the person saying this line? Similar to the "damn son, where'd you find this" line, it's one of those phrases that everyone's familiar with, but nobody actually knows who said it. So today I thought it would be fun to dive into the history of the EA Sports guy with you guys and tell you how a routine phone call changed this guy's life and made him one of the most recognizable voices in the world.
Game time begins, taking tackle the challenge, crash, course, collision, head-to-head battle with 11
I want to give a big shout out to today's cereal sponsor, MagicSpoon. MagicSpoon satisfies that sweet cereal craving without sabotaging your daily nutritional goals. They have 8 flavors to choose from, and in my 4-pack variety box, I chose cocoa, fruity, blueberry, and my personal favorite, peanut butter. MagicSpoon's new flavors, maple waffle and cookies and cream, are 2 on my radar for the next box I get. They look really good. The cereal doesn't just taste good, it actually makes you feel full, unlike other traditional sweet cereals where you just down a bowl and want to take a nap afterwards. Each MagicSpoon cereal contains 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 to 5 net carbs per serving, and that's in a 140 calorie serving right there. They're also keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free. It's made out of milk protein. That's how they were able to do this. MagicSpoon is so confident in their product, it comes with a 100% happiness guarantee, so if you don't like it, you get your refund, no questions asked. You guys can click the link below and use code WAVY at checkout to get $5 off your order. What flavors will you try in your own custom build-your-own box? Get the peanut butter and blueberry. Anyways, let's get on to the video. Let's begin this story with a little bit of historical context surrounding Electronic Arts.
EA Games.
Challenge everything.
In the late 80s, home console gaming was hitting the mainstream thanks to the success of the NES, and the gaming industry in general was given new life after nearly failing earlier in the decade due to poor quality games and oversaturation in the market. One developer that survived the crash was a little-known studio that you might have heard of called EA, or Electronic Arts. Formed back in 1982, EA had experienced a limited run of success thanks to titles like Skate or Die, SimCity, and of course, John Madden Football. Originally released in 1988 for Apple II computers, John Madden Football would receive acclaim after it was ported onto the Sega Genesis in 1990 and the Super Nintendo in '91. John Madden Football was a huge unexpected success for EA, especially on the Sega Genesis. They had thought that they would only sell about 75,000 copies of this thing, but ended up selling 400,000. They had a hit on their hand. I mean, the game's still around today. John Madden Football's success prompted EA to partition off a portion of their developers to exclusively work on sports titles, which of course leads to the birth of EA Sports. Now let's talk about that EA Sports intro.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Not every EA Sports title was blessed with the legendary EA Sports guy's presence. Early EA Sports titles featured more general intros with basic graphics accompanied by a cacophonous 16-bit song that honestly sounded like shit. But by 1993, EA Sports titles uniformly adopted this new intro that is the one that you're familiar with nowadays, the EA Sports. It's in the game.
It's in the game.
The thing just kinda worked. I know it, you know it, everybody knows this line. But who is the guy that said it? For some time, there was a rumor or urban legend suggesting that the voice was actually computer generated, but that's not the case. The voice is from Canadian voice actor Andrew Anthony.
That is not bad.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
In the early 1990s, Mr. Anthony had just gotten his start as an amateur voice actor. He might as well have been a nobody at the time, was fresh out of school, and had a barren resume. But he was gifted with a smooth baritone voice. So how does this random nobody voice actor from Canada get one of the biggest voice gigs in gaming history? The story of how Andrew Anthony gets the gig basically involves an old friend doing him a favor, and it also helped that EA wasn't the Goliath that it is today, and they were willing to take less reputable talent. This is what happened. In 1993, EA had reached out to an advertising industry insider to consult this insider on devising a strategy on how to update their marketing related to the newly minted EA Sports games. I guess they wanted to update those crusty ass intros that they had. They wanted something simple, a logo drop with some kind of voice slogan to solidify the EA Sports branding. This advertising industry consultant was initially reluctant with taking the job as he was unfamiliar with the then small video game company that was EA, but he eventually decides to take the job and design a slogan for these nerds. He initially comes up with the slogan, "If it's in the game, it's EA Sports." Now obviously this would later be changed. He flips it to EA Sports, it's in the game. And now he needs a guy to voice this for EA. Well, it turns out that this advertising insider happened to be an old friend of Andrew Anthony, and off the top of his head, he's thinking of voice acting buddies that he's known from his experiences in the past, and well, Andrew Anthony is the first person that comes to mind, and he gives him a call and tells him about the role. This phone call leads to a chain reaction of events that ends up with Andrew Anthony not only auditioning for the role, but unknowingly getting it and becoming one of the most recognized voices in the world. This is Andrew Anthony reflecting on how he stumbled into this life-changing gig.
He came up with this whole line. Originally was, "If it's in the game, EA Sports, it's in the game." And he called me up in Toronto, his old buddy, and said, "Hey, will you do the voice for this thing for free?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I will. I don't even know what this is, but I got a free trip down to see you, so for sure." And I recorded it, and I thought I will never, ever hear anything about that again. And 23 years later, it has become this mega brand. I think they told me at one time that it was the 11th most recognized brand in America or something.
It kind of blows my mind that one of the most recognizable slogans in history came from an unpaid audition. I mean, if you're asking me, that's like $1 million quote right there. And to add on to Mr. Anthony's anecdote, he claims that he wasn't even informed that he won the audition and only realized that his EA Sports It's in the Game line was chosen when he overheard his own voice one day when his kid booted up Madden on their Super Nintendo.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Oh, wow, that's me? And I know some of you are thinking, damn, that's messed up that they used Andrew's unpaid audition in the games and didn't tell him. It seems scummy at first, but EA actually did the right thing here and later would give Mr. Anthony a job voicing over the EA Sports TV commercials alongside the games. And it's hard to imagine a scenario where he wasn't paid for this work. Here are some examples of the commercials that he voiced.
Dig in. NHL 95. EA Sports. It's in the game. Aspirin. 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 Give me some aspirin! Pounding dunks. NBA Live 95. EA Sports. None of this matters, because I'm better than you, and I can prove it. I got a game. I can prove it. If it's in the game, EA Sports. It's in the game.
As EA continued to pump out their sports titles, around the year 2000, the original vocal line was replaced with an updated version, the one that's still in use today.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
It was Andrew Anthony's best work thus far, and in time, this intro would be heard by millions around the world. And this was him just getting started. What many people don't realize is that after EA Sports It's in the Game, Andrew Anthony went on to voice many other iconic advertising slogans. The most notable in his portfolio being Geico's 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Yes, that's actually the EA Sports guy. This one blew my mind. Check it out.
There he is. There's an easier way to save. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
EA Geico. Sports.
Car insurance.
It's in the game. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on sports.
Insurance.
Game. Geico. Geico.
While Andrew Anthony has certainly had a successful career in voice acting for advertisements, it's become clear over the years that his personal favorite contribution was his EA Sports line for the games. He's in many ways branded himself as the EA Sports guy. He's proud of being the man behind the voice, and there's many videos on YouTube showcasing him happily doing the line for people on request. Check some of these out.
Cover the sound. All right.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
It's not bad. How about this? EA Sports. It's in the game.
Go.
Go ahead.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Not bad.
EA Sports. It's in the game. Better.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Sucks. Do it.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Better.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Gangster.
But wrapping things up here, that is the story of how Andrew Anthony got a phone call one day that led him to becoming one of the most recognized voices in the world. If you like this video and want to watch another one about the history behind a disembodied voice, check out my video on the Damn Son, Where'd You Find This Guy? I tracked him down and he's a pretty cool dude. Slap a like on the video, ring that bell, and make sure you let me know who or what you want me to talk about next. EA Sports. It's in the game. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. Wavy Web Surf out. Peace.